I know y'all saw that interview with the game. I know y'all did. I know y'all did. But I want to give my spin on it. I want to talk about how pick-me women are codependent because that's what I got from that interview. Okay. If you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sex. We discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Smithy. I'm a licensed therapist and coach, and I want to talk about pick-me women. I think pick-me women have had it hard these past couple of years. And I'm going to say this, I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman desiring a relationship. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to show up like Destiny's Child when she said, when they said, let me cater to you. I think the problem is often with pick-me women, what I see is a level of codependency and also self-abandonment. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're also going to be honest that each one of us, especially if you're on your healing journey, you may have a tinge of codependency, a little pick me in your blood. Don't get me, right? So in this video, I'm not dragging pick me women, okay? I'm diagnosing the behavior. I'm calling out the behavior. I'm talking about the behavior, okay? So again, over here, it's not about shaming. It's not about you feeling uncomfortable, but it's about you being free. When we are able to put a name to it, when we're able to identify it, we're able to replace it with healthy behavior, right? That's where healing will take place. And that's when transformation, will happen in your life. And that's what we're about over here, okay? So there's no shame. Like Bob said, no shame, no condemnation over here, okay? Listen, pick-me behavior doesn't come from confidence. It comes from the fear of abandonment, low relational self-worth, and also externalized identity, meaning that your identity doesn't come from the inside. Like you don't determine your identity. Your identity is based off of what you do, who you're in connection with, who you're in relationship with. Sometimes something I see, or if you've ever asked yourself, like you see beautiful women and they are with men that, recently we saw the situation with, and you may feel, I'm just using them as an example, okay? Christy Scott and Desmond, right? And so I see many women in the comments like, you're so beautiful. How could he treat you like that? How could he do this? And that's externalized identity. Looking at a woman and saying, because she's beautiful, right? There are certain things in life that she shouldn't experience. But also we say the same thing when we think about Halle Berry or Beyonce. People are like, oh, how could he do that? She's this. There's this externalized identity that we place on people, right? And thinking that they are exempt from certain life situations. But also a person who is codependent, also their identity is in what they do. So sometimes mothers exhibit this. I work with women all the time, and they can share what they do, but when it comes to who they are, they have a difficult time in tapping in. So many people have a whole lot of titles. That's your externalized identity. But who are you to the core? Okay. So let's talk about codependency. A pick-me woman is not simply a woman who wants love. She is a woman who needs validation in order to feel safe. Remember, we are talking about this nervous system here. A lot of the behaviors that we engage in really have to do with our nervous system. So a pick-me woman that finds a man that is unhealthy and then she's doing everything she can in order to gain his favor, that is a woman who is regulating her nervous system and she's using that relationship in order to feel safe. Even sometimes when I see women that have these on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again relationships are struggling with codependency. There is a need that you want that person to meet. And so you allow them to come in your life, even though it's these cycles and you just won't let go. Okay. Pick-me behavior shows up when a woman competes with other women for male approval. Now we saw in the, I've seen online in certain conversation while some people were saying that Evelyn was being inappropriate with the game in front of her daughter. There are mothers that will compete for men and will compete with their daughter for a man, right? Daughter can get married. Mom is inappropriate with son-in-law. Mom flirts with son-in-law. Sorry, y'all. Or daughter can be dating and mom is inappropriate with the men that come home, you may feel like I can't bring a man around my mother because she is grossly inappropriate with him. All right. So she competes with other women for male approval. This could also be your best friend. What Kelly said? She was a friend of mine. She slept with my man. She lied. She cheated. Come on now. Kelly Price told us that. Okay. Competing for male approval. We saw, if you saw the TikTok, I think it was in December or in November, of the best friend talking about how her girlfriend accepts less from her, I think it was her husband, and how like I sold him his third house and he makes this amount of money, but when it's something for her, like he just took her out for dinner or flowers, he needs to be doing more. And then the wife came on and said, basically aired it out. And what it came out to be, from my understanding, is that the one that said that the husband needs to do more was actually interested in the husband. So we see this where women will compete for male approval or to be with a man, okay? This type of woman minimizes her needs in order to be chosen. Now, we know over here, we believe in choosing mutual selection. We don't believe in a man just choosing us. We don't see that as hope I'm using this word right, the precipice of our being, okay? We believe in, if you haven't seen my video, watch my video, Why Every Woman Should Date Selfishly. We believe in, we're not performing for love, okay? We're not self-sacrificing. We're not abandoning ourselves. We believe, and we get to know a man, we build a companionship, and then we decide if he's safe enough to be a romantic partner. This woman over-identifies with the man's preference, opinions, or pain. I know, not necessarily know, but I see online many women, and they say they support Kevin Samuels and what he said is true, and women need to be feminine, fit, and friendly, and they are accepting a man who had misogynistic opinions. They are accepting that, and they believe it's true. And sometimes we see this with mothers as it relates to their sons, where their sons can engage in poor behavior, they can neglect their children, and that mother will cover for that child. That's codependency. That's not okay. This woman believes being low maintenance is a moral achievement. For my Christian girls, some of the preaching that we may have received before as related to submission, some of that was to create codependency. It was. But many of us were taught basically submission was he's the head. And so you basically need to do what your husband tells you to do. When a woman believes that men, are better at being logical than a woman is. I did a video, why church women give, or why church women give the worst advice. And I described, one woman, and I saw her the other day too on TikTok, and she was talking about, men are more logical than women, and so that man is not going to be moved by your emotions. So as a woman, you just need to understand that men are more logical in decisions, and we need to look at we just need to look at things, right? Like God, did God create women? Well, women and men have emotions, right? But it doesn't mean that we don't have a frontal lobe. How are you able to be successful? How are you able to navigate business? Or how are you able to navigate college? How are you able to navigate all of these things if you don't know how to be logical? So all of a sudden you get married and now you're not logical. That woman's a pick-me woman. That woman has codependency issues. And sometimes some women teach codependency and they use the Bible, right, in order to mask really areas in which they need to heal. Okay? At its core, pigment behavior says, my value increases when a man prefers me, when a man chooses me, when a man validates me. That's when my value increases. This is not empowerment. This is outsourcing your identity. So sometimes you ever know a woman that, oh girl, she can keep a man. She get one man, another man, another man. You ever question maybe she's codependent? Maybe her value is in the man, or you see a woman, man dogging her out, lying to her, cheating on her, taking her money, spending his money, gambling the money, addiction, all of that. And she covers it because her value is seen in him. Meanwhile, everybody's looking at him like, girl, this man is not healthy. Who the people, what's his name? Blueface, codependency. And what was her name? I forget her name. That relationship, codependency. Codependency. Okay. So let's talk about what codependency is. From a psychological standpoint, codependency is a relational pattern where your sense of self is tied to another person, not yourself. You prioritize others' needs over your own chronically. And this can form resentment after a while. Okay? This can form low self-esteem, lack of self-worth, resentment, and bitterness because you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And you are giving in hopes that this person will turn around and give to you. But you're also giving because you want the validation. What happens when the man never gives it to you? What happens when your father never gives it to you? What happens when your mother never gives it to you? Sometimes I see, especially when the misuse of scripture, honor your mother and father so your days might be longer on the earth. I see sometimes people use that as codependency. So you grew up in an unhealthy, broken family. And then when your parent wants you to do something and you don't want to do it and you wrestle with it, then they use that scripture. And now you feel obligated because you may be 35, but you are performing as the 5-year-old because that inner child hasn't been healed. All right. Codependency. Oh, let me give these other two. You prioritize others' needs above your own. And sometimes mothers do this. Don't do this. We as mothers should not pour from an empty vessel. We pour to ourselves first and then our kids, okay? You gain worth from being needed, chosen, or approved of. If you are a people pleaser, you have codependency issues. If you are a people pleaser, you have codependency issues. I'm sorry. And I hope you didn't hear it here first. I hope somebody else told you that because that felt like a bomb just dropped. I'm sorry. Okay. You experience anxiety when you're not emotionally fused with someone. Codependency is not about being kind. It's about self-abandonment. And pick-me behavior is simply codependency with a gendered script. We don't talk about men that are codependent because we don't believe. Are men codependent? Absolutely. But in society, or maybe they'll call them a simp, maybe. But in society, we really don't look at men as being able to be codependent. But maybe I need to do a video on that. If you want me to do a video on that, let me know below. And let me remind you, all of this month on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're doing group coaching. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. So click the link in the description and sign up. It starts February the 7th for this week. You don't want to miss it. If you're like Cynthia, this is the month I'm going to heal. This is the month of love and I'm going to engage in self-love. Start there. Okay. So let me give you a few examples. All right. Example 1. You show up in a relationship and you tell that man, I don't need much. I don't need much. And there was a young lady who asked me about codependency. I need to look at again versus getting your needs met. So let me answer that. I think I can answer that right now. The difference between codependent people usually show up minimizing and shrinking themselves. Okay. The flip side is that, they can be very demanding or needy sometimes as it relates to, depending on, how they are. But usually they minimize themselves. They want to show up as a pleaser. They want to please the person. Why? Because they want that person to then turn to them and say, oh, you did a good job. Right? We see codependency in families where there's addiction or relationships in which there's addiction and relationships in which there's abuse. We see that. When Kevin Samuels would talk about the high value man and he should be able to cheat, he should be able to do this, and you don't need to say anything because your needs are taken care of, he was creating a dynamic for codependency in a relationship. Okay, so showing up as I don't need much. Translation, I learned that my needs make me undesirable. This is classic codependency because you're shrinking to stay attached because you believe that if I really express what I need, what I want, what I hope for, what I desire, that this person's going to turn the other way because somewhere in your history, you've been taught that your needs don't matter. There's a study of the babies, right? The babies that cried, that were left to cry. And after a while, they learned that no one was going to come. So what happened? They stopped crying. And so sometimes as women, you have been taught in your relationships that people aren't going to meet your need. And so then you show up and you're not demanding on anyone. This can also be as it relates to wanting a raise at work. You're doing exceptional work. Okay. But you don't advocate for yourself and what you need. And you need to. You have to advocate for what you want, what you need, and what you desire. It's your responsibility. Okay. Codependent women defend men who disrespect women. We see this all the time. Oh, I understand why a man cheats. Like, women are too emotional. Feminism ruin relationships. Okay. Sometimes you're in relationship with a man who disrespects women and you say nothing. I'm going to do a video for the membership on confident women and red pill men, right? Red pill men have an issue with women who are confident, but women who aren't confident have also an issue with women who are. There are a lot of women who you may have been hurt by a woman, but the level of vitriol that you have against women has to be studied. You have some internalized sexism that you would look at a man and you would agree with something like feminism ruin relationships. Oh, this baby mama culture is getting out of whack. Like, everybody trying to be a baby mama. This is the thing that I want women, especially women who are quick to defend men, and even mothers that have adult sons, and you see your adult son mistreating and mishandling women. He got this girlfriend, that girlfriend, that girlfriend, and he get to rotate them around to your house at Sunday dinner, and you don't say anything to him. You don't challenge him. That's not okay. That's not okay at all. And we as women really need to address these things. We need to address these things, okay? You have to address that internalized sexism. Why do you feel so strongly against women, right? Really, because you want the approval of a man. And the thing is, what I've seen, this is it. Last year, when the Big Beautiful Bill was passed, and there were families that were at risk of not receiving food stamps. And I saw women get online. I saw women who looked like me get online and say, I bet you want that 50-50 man now. I bet you want that man that makes that $30,000, that $40,000, that $50,000 now. Now, let's be clear. In our nation, okay, African-American people or Black folk make up 13% of the population. We are not the largest recipients as it relates to social programs. And on top of that, SNAP benefits are given to women, right? Children, military, veterans, people that are disabled, the elderly. And for a woman to get up, or many women, right? We're talking about women, not the men. And to say that, and I remember seeing one woman say that, I thought that was very disgusting behavior. I thought it was, because what Kool-Aid have you drunk that you don't feel compassion? Because if they could change that law, which doesn't affect you today, they could change another law that affects you. They can't. And so there needs to be a level of compassion, okay? So this is called identification with the oppressor, a survival strategy that says if I side with him, he won't abandon me. And some codependent, pick-me women have decided to side with men. And you see it in the comments. Oh yeah, this is a queen right here. Oh yeah, da 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 da. No. I've seen some graphic things online and about women saying, things like, if you let that man go to work this morning and you ain't give him a BJ, you done put him out, and now another woman gonna take care of your man. That's codependent behavior. That's pick-me behavior. Like, to minimize yourself to just a sexual being in order to be with a man, in order to keep a man, in order to be validated by a man. No, we don't do that. All right. So I need you to understand that that's fear. That's not logic. That's not logic. And somewhere in this woman's history or your history, there may be abandonment. All right. The third example, being proud of suffering silently. Pick me culture. Glorifies endurance, the ride or die, staying quiet, being agreeable. Even when you know. And I also see this. I saw a video the other day, and a young woman, a Christian woman, saying her husband had cheated on her. And she was like, why do I always have to be the one to forgive? Why I always have to do this? Why I always have to do that? And she was like, God told me that was pride. The Father of heaven and earth, that word said that if that man cheat, you can divorce. He told you it was pride because you try to figure out why that man is always hurting you. That's codependency. And sometimes we can't see God clearly because we're seeing him through the lens of our brokenness. Why would God tell you that? So being agreeable. So that man can run you through the miry clay, take you to hell and back. And your Lord gonna tell you that that's pride because you question it. Why this man keeps hurting me? So your Lord wants you to be agreeable with being mistreated. That's what your God wants you to do? Your God don't avenge you? Also, I remember, I think it was in my comments, a young lady saying, she was being told, not to nag her husband. He's done things not to nag. Why? And it's not even nagging. You have the right to advocate for yourself. You have the right to, you teach people, your husband, your man, how to treat you. So anyone that tells you otherwise, you need to question that. Why is it that a man gets a pass? Why is it that he gets to handle me any way he wants to? And when I say this hurts me, this disappoints me, this frustrates me, this breaks me, that I need to give it to God. I just need to pray for him. I need to pray more. No, sugar. No. They are engaging in codependency. And you have to challenge that, okay? So being agreeable, holding a man down. How is it that every man on 90-day, what is it, 90-day lockdown? 90-day, what is it, 90-day? Love and lock up? Why he got a woman? All these free men outside, why would you find a man and hold him down in prison? Now, I think it's different if you guys are married or dating before. I think that's different. But y'all going to the jail and the prison and the DOJ to find a man? There's a man outside. What for what? What we doing that for? And you holding him down. Or you holding him down and he hasn't worked in 5-10 years. Why? With no true plan on how to. I remember, I forget his name. He's a comedian and he was talking about how he was living with his girlfriend and he wasn't working. He was working on his skits and she got upset. And she told him, you got to go. People be like, well, see, if she would have waited, she would have been with you or you was a millionaire now. No. We're not engaging in that behavior. We're not being martyrs. Okay? That's not what we're doing. We don't have to believe, right, that love is earned through sacrifice. And guess what? In the society we live in, many people want you to, love is sacrifice. You got to make a sacrifice. You get to choose what sacrifice you make in your relationship. You get to choose what sacrifice you make in your relationship. And what it doesn't have to be is someone taking advantage of you. Okay? Listen. It's not earned through sacrifice. Now, will you make sacrifice in your relationship? Sure. But you get to determine that. The sacrifice may be something like he want to live in DeKalb County. You want to live in Fulton. You say, you know what, babe? Let's live in DeKalb. That's where you want to go. I'm not really sold. I'm not really, I don't have to live in Fulton County, but yeah, that's cool. That's a sacrifice. But some of the things that you are engaging in your relationship that are chiseling away at your self-worth and your self-esteem, that's not sacrifice. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Healthy love does not require you to disappear. Okay, healthy love doesn't require you to shrink. If anything, that man comes and he nourishes you and he nurtures you and you find yourself growing and blooming and blossoming in ways that you never imagined, and him the same. We are not created to be, as women, to be in relationships with men that are draining us and that are leeches. What you think? Why you think they putting that divorce effect out there with all them women? No, we're not doing that. So let's talk about where this come from. Picky behavior doesn't start in childhood. It usually begins in emotionally inconsistent homes, right? You may have been in foster care, so you may have had rejection, abandonment, environments where love was conditional, so you had to perform for love. You may have excelled in school and learned that if I excel in school, then people will praise me. But at home, right, you had to perform in order to get love. It happens in spaces where women are rewarded for being easy and punished for having standards. So you may have learned that in order to get along or in order to be in a relationship, you had to shrink what you wanted, what you needed, and what you desired. I see it here sometimes in the comments where men will say all kind of rude things to me because of how I'm coming to educate you. And they feel like because of my appearance, right, that I shouldn't have an opinion. Okay. They feel like that I should be quiet, that I should just accept what is out there. Oh, you talking like you a 10, you a 5 at best. Listen, they can say whatever they want to say, but this is the thing. Everything has a standard on how it should be treated. Your car tell you how to treat it, don't it? Your car tell you what type of oil to put in it, what type of gas to put in it, or if it's electric, it tell you it needs some of that. So you telling me you respect a car more than you respect a human being, and that's the issue. Many people don't have respect for humanity, and that's why a lot of things are happening in our society. That's why a lot of things are happening in our relationship, because we don't respect each other. Okay? So spaces where women are rewarded for being easy. So the nervous system learns that attachment is survival. And the adult woman learns being chosen equals safety. So that's why she could be with a man and you're like, girl, he don't want you, but she's gung-ho on being with him. And that's why men can breadcrumb you. That's why a man can give you just a little, because you are engaging in codependent behavior. That's why he can mistreat you and be neglectful, but you want to be kind to him. You want to be caring. You feel like if I show him I'm this, then he'll select me. He'll choose me. No, sugar, choose yourself. Choose yourself. Okay? I want you to know that this is an unhealed attachment wound, and we've been talking about that for the past couple of weeks, right? Let's talk about the cost of being a pick-me. Okay. Now, this is a hard truth. Again, no judgment here. Pick-me women often attract emotionally unavailable men. Heal your codependency, then you won't be attracted to these type of men. Feel invisible in relationships. Why? Because you're giving, and whatever he wants, that's what I'm going to give him. To the point of your, there are some women who have been humiliated. We always, Yellow Couch. And that lady talked about ironing that man clothes for him to go see the side chicks. Codependency. Experience resentment and burnout because people just keep taking. Because codependency doesn't just show up in your romantic relationship. It shows up in all of your relationships, your friendships, your family, at work. Okay? People feel like they always can depend on you. You're always going to show up for them. But meanwhile, they're not doing the same for you. Right? Women who struggle with codependency confuse anxiety with chemistry. Because when you abandon yourself, you teach others how to do the same. Because you neglect yourself, you allow others to do the same. Because you're not caring for yourself emotionally, you allow others to do the same. Now, this a pick-me codependent woman can be beautiful externally. She can look like she has it all all going on. But the thing is how she shows up in her relationships. And from the outside looking in, she looks wonderful on paper. But there are behaviors that are detrimental that you are engaging in that are problematic. Okay? Listen, because when you, like I said, you teach others to do the same, right? You cannot be chosen and erased. You can't be chosen and erased. You want a man to choose you, but you're erasing who you are. You're not showing up as authentic. He wants you like, I got short hair, Oh, I really like women with long hair. So now you out there trying to grow your hair out. Or you getting extensions, you wearing wigs. Why? Because you're doing it to please him, to be accepted by him. Now, there's nothing wrong. If your man likes something and you want to do that for him, that's cool. But it shouldn't be your identity. And you should be able to express like, listen, sugar, when you got with me, I had a pixie cut. So I know you like long hair, but do you like me for who I am? Because I don't really like no hair. Okay? Right? You shouldn't be erasing yourself in order to be in a relationship with him. You shouldn't be erasing your identity and taking on his. You are a human. You are a woman. You should roar. Like, you're an individual. So let's talk about what healing looks like, right? Healing codependency doesn't mean becoming harsh or hyper independent or hating men, right? It means developing an internal sense of worth. Your worth should not be defined by anyone else. It should only be defined by the Lord and yourself. You know your worth. You know your value. Okay? And if somebody can't see it, then they can't see it. But don't let them have access to you. And don't shrink it in order to be in a relationship with them. Okay? It means tolerating disapproval without collapsing. Just because that person gets upset with you or disappointed with you or frustrated with you doesn't mean you perform. Many of us have performed a long time because we want the approval of someone else. So you sacrifice yourself in order for that approval. And then the cycle continues, because that person knows, if I give her the silent treatment, or if I leave the house, or if I go out and I start flirting with somebody else, I can control her and I can make her do what I want her to do. We're not doing that, okay? Healing means allowing others to be disappointed. Because if you think about it, how many times have you been disappointed by their behavior? How come you always are doing your very best to prevent people from being disappointed with you, meanwhile they're not doing the same? How is it that you respect people and their boundaries, but they won't do that for you? How come you feel comfortable when negotiating your care with people? All right. Okay. And lastly, she chooses herself without justification. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You don't have to over-explain. You just get to show up as who you are. And there are going to be people who respect it, and there are going to be others that don't. And if they don't respect it, then guess what? Those people should not have access to your life. Anybody who's in your life should respect you and your boundaries. Okay? All right. We're not showing up in relationships allowing people to misuse us. We're not doing that anymore. So let's talk about this. I want you to know, right, that again, everybody got a little bit of codependency in them probably. Or you may be, in recovery. Codependent in recovery. But this is what I want you to know. You don't have to perform to be loved. You don't have to abandon yourself in order to be loved. Okay? You don't have to do that. Choose yourself. Put yourself first. What you need, what you want. And then you get in relationship with people who are able to give you what you need and what you want. Okay? No more self-sacrificing. No more shrinking yourself. No more abandoning yourself. Take up space. There's a space that was created for you, and you need to step into it. All right? Well, my name is Smithy. This is Heal the New Sexy.